YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage back. I got some more replays from Ninjahund here for you, and they will again be focused on chaos today. Well, I say that. I have some other stuff from him. I kind of want you all to see this Goblin Town replay too, because his Goblin Town army is pretty entertaining if you haven't seen it before. But yeah, so Empire versus Chaos. This is him playing his Empire this time. The last replay on the last video, I believe they'll go back to back, was him playing as Chaos versus Empire, and the Empire player chose no skirmishers whatsoever. You see that Ninjahund chose not to follow that same approach, and I would agree with that mentality for the most part. I'm not saying that an Empire army couldn't go head-to-head with Chaos and win. I just don't think that that's playing to the strengths of the Empire, which is its combined arms type tactics, and then some of its specialty units, like the Steam Tank, for instance. The Steam Tank is a mobile artillery platform that may not be like the greatest artillery, but it's fairly accurate. It's very survivable for an artillery piece, and it's quite good in melee, and it causes terror. So as long as you don't get into a bunch of units that cause massive anti-armor damage, you're good. He's got some Knights of the Blazing Sun out here, which is a very cool cavalry unit. And combined with them, he has a Bright Wizard and his Boris Todbringer Lord here. That's going to be cool. There's Boris right in the middle of these Knights of the Blazing Sun. It's a cool place to put him, too, because it keeps him protected. Let's check out the main line. Let's see, we've got a Spear, Sigmar's Son, Great Sword, Tattersoul, another Spear, 2 crossbows in the back, nothing out on his right flank. Chaos has brought the flying contingent, very similar to what he himself uses here, except a Lore of Metal wizard here, so I don't know what this person was smoking on or if they're new to the game. Quit looking at the camera, ugly. I hate how the monsters always look at the camera. Check out that Steam Tank. Woo! 26 kills on the Chaos Warriors with great weapons. I was saying it's not that great of a cannon. Never mind. It is wrecking these guys. It is very expensive, though, and that's why his army is quite small at the moment, and he's had to skimp. He doesn't have Demigryph Knights. He's got the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Knights of the Blazing Sun, of course, pack a real wallop of a charge and can really hurt infantry, but they're not going to be as good versus large targets. And there are some of those over here, some Chaos Trolls. Metal Sorcerer, that's just a weird... What kind of spells did he put? It looks like Plague of Rust. Looks like just Plague of Rust. That is such an odd choice, mate. Plague of Rust, man. Hoping to pull down the Great Swords, I guess, because there's not a whole lot of other really heavily armored units from the Empire. And Great Swords are only 95 armor. I say only. Yeah, here, see right here, the Terror from the Steam Tank. This is going to be a great way to use the Steam Tank. It's actually rolling over more of his own guys. Fortunately for him, it doesn't cause friendly fire. But the Terror on it is real. You can see here, it actually worked right there. And then his flying units come down into the Knights of the Blazing Sun. What in the world are they thinking? Definitely not the target that they want to come down. Well, I don't know. He backs it up with a Chaos with Chaos Warriors with halberds, so maybe so. Maybe so. Typically, though, you don't want to sling these flying lords in. Ooh, but here comes the Steam Tank also. And this Warriors with halberds is not immune to psychology either. This ought to be interesting. The Trolls come hitting in over here with their spears, and then the crossbows have a number on the Trolls, so they're going to take care of them. Yeah, this is not looking good. Look at this. See the Terror here? Terrified Chaos Marauders with great weapons. It's the Steam Gun on that tank. And as it attacks them, they get attacked in the rear, and then they're terrified also. And they came right back, but, I mean, the Steam Tank is brutal in that respect. Look at that, 75 kills already. And its armor-piercing damage is... I think it's armor-piercing damage. Oh, yeah. Yeah, look, this cycle charge from the Knights of the Blazing Sun. And they do have a brilliant charge. You can see it put a lot of hurt in there. Knights of the Blazing Sun are the same cost as Reiksguard, and they're better. I mean, you pretty much ought to bring Knights of the Blazing Sun. I kind of wish they would adjust the prices a little bit to be a reason to still use Reiksguard, but Knights of the Blazing Sun definitely kind of made them irrelevant. Plus, they look cool. Look at that, man. Chaos just got wrecked here, and then the Terror comes in from the tank. Chaos just does not... I mean, they would have had to sling all 3 of their flying lords into the tank to try and take it out, but the Knights of the Blazing Sun, of course, can then swing in, and then the combination of rear charges and Terror here is just going to rip apart the Chaos army. The Aspiring Champion's definitely helping in terms of helping with the leadership. Is this going to be a Plague of Rust? Transmutation of Lead, my bad. And Transmutational Lead's not a bad spell, but if I remember right, it's kind of expensive. I could be wrong, though. Let's take a look at it. Chaos Lord swooping in here, going after the Bright Wizard. Nice pick by Ninjahund, I think, here. You know, the Bright Wizard has a, it has a passive that actually makes all units slightly weaker to fire, and then the Knights of the Blazing Sun dish fire damage, so that could actually be an interesting synergy there. These crossbows are about to get charged by trolls. They're like, fire, fire, fire. Ouch. Yeah, they're going to get a bit of a wrecking here from these Chaos Trolls. I love the animations in this game, I really do. This is going to end up being a fairly tight fight down here, but I'm pretty sure that Ninjahund's Empire has this made. Between the Steam Tank and his fairly healthy Boris Todbringer here, they should be able to knock out the Chaos Lord. And I don't believe the Chaos Lord's immune to psychology either. So you got to be very careful. That's where I think it's very worth it to bring the Potion of Foolhardiness on Lords. This person did not, and they paid a price right there. Well, I mean, they may have already used their healing potion, I don't know. But I find that the Potion of Foolhardiness is kind of necessary with any Lord who doesn't have immunity to fear or terror. Like vampires, they have an immunity to it, so like with the White King, I don't bring it. Because the White King doesn't rout. They just crumble. So you don't bring a Potion of Foolhardiness with them, so it would be a waste. This is a Chaos Dragon. I guess I didn't notice that earlier. Wow, how smart am I? So the Chaos Lord on his Chaos Dragon here. Pretty nasty looking piece of work there. Pretty awesome graphics too, by the way. Where's he going? He's going after the crossbows. He's going after the crossbows, but most of the Chaos forces shattered right here. So, and then look at this, the Spearman going to get a rear charge onto the Aspiring Champions. Aspiring Champions probably still could win that fight. Boris, the Todbringer, bringing death to the Chaos Dragon. Look at this epic showdown going over here. That Chaos Dragon is just wicked looking. It's freaking awesome. Kind of wonder if... now, don't get me wrong, I still want to see lots of historical Total Wars, but part of me would like to see more fantasy Total War. Like, there could be some really cool stuff, I think, they put together. So, nice battle by Ninjahund there. Interesting pick, too. Again, I mentioned in the last video that one of the things that I appreciate from Ninjahund is I like that he makes all these different builds, and he has a passion for multiplayer. This is going to sound mean, and I don't mean it in a really mean way, but Creative Assembly has not really tried much with multiplayer since Shogun 2. They've gone extremely bare bones, and they haven't paid much attention to it. And basically, they just say, well, most of the players play the campaign. And they're right, they do. But I hate that multiplayer, it hasn't been ignored, but I would definitely say that, well, I mean, it kind of has been ignored in a way. It hasn't been completely forsaken, but at least partially ignored. It's kind of like Chaos is treating it like the Chaos. Creative Assembly. I just call them Chaos. Some of you are going to get a kick out of that. So Creative Assembly kind of just turns it by the way. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the strides that Creative Assembly has made with the campaign in Warhammer, in my opinion, are very, very good. At least personally, I find that Warhammer's campaign is way more replayable than any other Total War that I can remember. And that's saying something, because we've had some really good Total Wars in the past. But especially in the modern age of Total War versus like Rome 2 and Attila, Warhammer just flattens it in terms of replayability. It's just the factions are different, the tech trees are different, the skill trees are different. There's more investment into characters, there's more reason to level them up, there's special items to go after, there's quest battles, and like all this other stuff that just really make it replayable. Now, in terms of multiplayer, the balance in the game right now actually isn't that bad. It's as good as it's ever been since the game's been released. Sure, there could be some other tweaks to make it better, but it's pretty decent. And Ninjahund has mentioned on his stream before, and I tend to agree with him, that there's some ways in which Creative Assembly could make things better really fast without having to change a whole big bunch of stuff. And we'll talk about that a little bit as we jump into this Chaos versus Vampire counts. I don't remember all of his regions exactly. But like I said, I tend to agree with his line of thought here, which is the ladder needs to be reset frequently. So I play Halo, and Halo's not perfect by any means, but it was definitely one of those competitive games back in the day. And when you have a leaderboard on something or a ranking that you earn in, say, like a playlist, it's more fun when it gets reset from time to time. So if there's people who have just completely dominated it and you'll never catch up or anything else like that, it gets reset from time to time and gives people a chance. There should be, in my opinion, I don't know if he mentioned this one, but I think there should be some kind of prize for people who dominate the leaderboard during a season. So like if they get 1 or 2, they should get some kind of like badge or medal or something like that that people can see. That shows like, hey, this person had this awesome achievement on the leaderboard. They made it into the top 100, or they made it into the top 25, or whatever it is. You can have your own thing there, and I think that would be really cool. They have to fix the Alt F4 problem, which is you can basically just hit Alt F4, drop out of a game, and it forces a draw. Used to, there was drop hacking. I'm not sure if it's still in the game. And then there's other stuff that if they would just implement some rule sets, like some unit caps and stuff in the quick battles, not on the multiplayer battle list, but on the quick battles, the ladder battles, if they would implement some unit caps, like say a certain number of units, stuff like that. And again, a lot of these are ideas he's mentioned, though I've thought the same thing myself, and I completely agree with him, and I really wish Creative Assembly would listen and take that to heart. I don't think you have to have something like the Avatar Conquest mode in Shogun 2. The multiplayer in this game is fun. People like like I said, the variety in the factions, the crazy units, all that kind of stuff. People like that. I've never seen, like, Warhammer has a pretty decent multiplayer following right now. Because Total War games usually drop off pretty hard in multiplayer following, at least the newer ones have. And really, Warhammer has a pretty good following. It's got a lot of active players. Again, if they would just go fix some of these things, I think it goes a long way. But let's take a look at the armies here. So, Marauders with great weapons, Chaos Warriors. Now the Chaos Warriors are going to be kind of a heavily armored, more defensive type unit. They would do well against cheap vampire units like the Skeleton Warriors, for sure. And their high armor is going to make it difficult for a Sternsman to chop through, and the standard Graveguard for sure. So, nice mix of armor-piercing, cheaper units with a little bit more sturdy armored units here in the center, the Giants right behind them, Marauder Horsemasters in the back. He's got a Chaos Lord on a Manticore and a Fire Sorcerer, and then one more unit of Marauders with great weapons back here that's kind of blocking off the Blood Knight. And so for the Vampires, front line, 4 Skeleton Warriors. I'm actually not a big fan of the Skeleton Warriors as a meat shield, not versus Chaos at least, because the Skeleton Warriors don't perform well at all versus any Chaos units in my opinion. And then you've got the Graveguard back here, which are not the armor-piercing variety. Now, there is a Cairn Wraith to help out, and there's also some Crypt Horrors. Now, that's fine. Those units definitely have armor-piercing. Let's watch the charge. The Giant is going to be a problem for the Vampires. They do have the Claw of Nagash, but they're going to... Let's see where this Fireball is headed. Right into the... Ooh, the Claw of Nagash, and it did massive damage. Pretty good damage there. The Claw of Nagash only has 40 armor, so the damage from the Fireball will be pretty significant. Look at the Horsemasters here, just peeling the hit points off of the Crypt Horrors. And the Claw of Nagash was unprotected from a diving aerial assault like this. You see Vlad von Karstein over here chosen, and Vlad is all good and well, but if you're going to bring a Mortis Engine, you've got to have way more substantial protection. These Blood Knights right here would have been that protection. They should not have left the side of this Mortis Engine. So this is a critical mistake on the part of the Vampire player, in my opinion, because it allows this to happen. The Mortis Engine is quite slippery and quite hard to kill when it is surrounded by a unit like Blood Knights. But when it's left alone like this, it is going to die. Check it out, some of the Chaos units got terrified away there, probably when the Claw of Nagash punched through. Giants already got 70 kills, and the Cairn Wraiths are getting absolutely walloped here. Cairn Wraiths are no good versus a Giant. The Giant has no armor and a ton of hit points, and Cairn Wraiths are only good against armor, and they should have been used against some of the Chaos Warriors, and definitely not against the Giant. But you can see the Terror here taking its effect. The White King punching through, and a lot of the Chaos units on this flank routing. Fire Sorcerer, Cascading Fire Cloak is going to help out the Chaos units for sure. It is a great spell. And then back here, the Blood Knights trying to break through, and they're just getting hammered by the Marauder Horsemasters. So, very poor decision here, and there's also armor-piercing damage on the Marauders with great weapons, so this is not a fight that the Blood Knights wanted to be in. Again, these guys were mispositioned the whole game, for sure. But I like what Ninjahund did do here. His flying units quickly crippled the Mortis Engine, and now they're trying to work on Vlad. Vlad is definitely not so easy to take down, because he replenishes so incredibly fast. But if you get heavy enough charges from your flying monsters, or any other lord that can get in here and put enough damage, he will go down. But don't expect your infantry to do it easily. You definitely need some heroes to get the job done. And that's what's going to happen here. The White King is a great melee hero, in my opinion. A very affordable, very useful melee hero. Definitely one of my favorites. Karen Race probably win an award for one of the coolest looking units in the game, that's for sure. I love the color scheme and that ethereal look to them. They're just awesome. Karen Race definitely one of the most aesthetically pleasing. A lot of the vampires are crumbling at this point. They are not going to be able to take down the giant. The giant is just out of their reach at this time because the Blood Knights are gone. Blood Knights are really one of the only good tools that vampires have versus the giants. Other than if you teamed up on them with like a couple of Terror Geist or something, but even that's risky. So again, the Marauder Horsemen here, nice play. Nice play because they help keep the Blood Knights in check. Absolutely worked. The Flying Goon Squad took out the Mortis Engine, which is a critical backbone of the vampire army here. If you are a vampire player and you're going to bring that Mortis Engine, you have to protect it. It's key. The vampires rely on those support units. Their lord and their support units must be protected. And it's usually good to pick them in such a way that they synergize with each other. So again, the Blood Knights would just roll with the Claw of Nagash. Now think about that. Wherever the Blood Knights go, the Claw of Nagash goes. The Claw of Nagash causes terror. The Blood Knights are anti-large with a huge charge. And the Claw of Nagash slows other units down, so the charge speed is lessened, and then also other units can't flee as well. Flying Lords do not want to come down in the middle of a bunch of Blood Knights. It's going to be ugly for them, especially if the Claw of Nagash is around, also pulling off hit points. So again, that would be a decent synergy. Crypt Horrors near it as well would be a decent synergy. I think a little bit too much money spent on the skeletons, and a little bit more money maybe spent on some units that had better anti-armor capability might have been good there. Never discount a giant from Chaos or Beastmen or Greenskins when you're the vampires. You have to consider that situation, and I almost say you kind of have to come prepared to take out a giant, because if you don't, the giant's probably going to take you out. Hey, I appreciate Ninjahund sending these in. I hope you all enjoyed it. They were fun battles. I like the way he's using Chaos here. You'll notice that he's using the Marauder Horsemasters to give him a little bit of skirmishing, which is a weakness of Chaos, but they're also very fast, and you can use that to your advantage. They're very quick. There's not going to be many units that can run them down. Those Centaurs with great weapons got close, but obviously he stayed close enough to support. The flying units, again, like the pick of the flying units, they give Chaos some anti-hero capability that's very important, and anti-support unit type capability where they can swoop in on artillery or lords or heroes or whatever it is, and they can try and do some quick knockout punches. And then just the general combination of aspiring champions with the armor-piercing infantry, never a bad thing, especially if you expect to come up against fairly well-armored infantry. And the vampires, you very well could with Graveguard. So it's not a bad pick. What do you all think? Do you like the Chaos builds here? If you want to see more, Ninjahund does have a guide up. Oh, I wish I had the link to it. I guess I could see if I can find it and put it in there. If I don't have it, go visit his channel on Twitch. He'll link you to his multiplayer guide. It's a pretty cool thing that he has this guide that he put together. It's got a lot of builds in it and stuff. If you're a new player and you're looking for some extra help to get started, number one, I appreciate it if you're watching my videos, and hopefully they're helpful. But Ninjahund has a lot of good advice in that guide, and definitely worth checking out. So appreciate him sending it in. Tell me what your thoughts are. What kind of Chaos builds do you like? How do you like to take on Chaos, or any of that type of discussion that you want to throw in? I love reading those comments, and even if I don't get back to you, trust me, I'm looking at all of it, and appreciate what you all pitch in. Hey, you're awesome viewers. I appreciate you joining in every day. I really do. I love making these videos for you, and I will see you all back soon.